Honestly,
Fake.
I was talking to a girl on my team the other day.
Wow,
and
I didn't mean for this to lead to a crisis, but continue.
I was talking to a girl on my team, and because we right before a show, we were like circling up, and people were like going in and out.
Right.
And everyone like knew all the songs that were coming on, and I was like, girl, I have no idea, because I'm not a real hip hop. Like, I don't listen to hip hop outside of dance. And so she's like, what do you listen to? I'm like, literally musicals and country.
Anything else.
Yeah, I'm like alternative, pop, country, musicals.
Yeah.
Not hip hop.
That's wild.
It is kind of weird, because I think a lot of the dancers
All
in
they
general,
listen to, yeah.
all they listen to is hip hop,
Yeah.
which they get inspiration from, and I'm just over here like,
Hi, I'm here.
hi, this is the newest musical I'm obsessed with.
That's hilarious to me.
Yeah, I feel like I'm a fake dancer. It's whatever.
I tell my partner all the time that I was definitely born to have been part of the 90s club kid scene because of just like, that is my comfort music. Like, when I need something, that's my comfort. When we were driving to Reno, we left really late, so by the time we were like doing the last like hour, 2 hour stretch to get to my parents' house, it was already like 7:38. It's been dark for the last 2 hours, and I was like roughing it. I was just like, I have no will to go on, and he's like, boop. I was revived, I was alive, I was ready, and I was just going ham, dancing dangerously slightly while driving.
Welcome back to the Midnight Memo. My name is Claire,
And I'm Kristen.
and we're so happy to have you. Woo! Yes.
Season 3, baby.
I know. We're now already recording our second episode of season 2.
Yes.
And we're
Season
diving.
2, try
oh
again.
my god.
I just said season, ma'am. She's
Listen,
canceled. Look,
Isn't
canceled
one
again.
ear out the other?
With no
season
buffer in
3,
between.
yeah, it's just empty up here usually.
2 brain cells fighting for third spot.
Yeah.
Yep.
And if I stand really still, I can intercept the brain cell that's floating around here somewhere. Season 3. I meant to say episode 2. Season 3. Yes.
Good.
Saved it. No one even noticed.
No one noticed when I leave this all.
No one noticed at all. Yeah, I guess today we're just kind of like diving into the topic we want to talk about.
Okay.
Pretend it's the floor wave thing
Oh
that
my
guys do.
What was that? 2013, 14?
It's still
I'm old
relevant.
because I am still referencing things by years. That's terrifying. It was like your junior, senior year. When Vine was in its prime.
Really?
Yeah.
Chinese New Year.
Anyway.
Smooth transition. Season 3. Still no good transitions. So
You know, we have no right to be this delusional. It is
midnight.
Yes. Anyways, Chinese New Year.
Third time's a charm.
Yes, like this season.
Yeah. Boom, bam. So, if y'all didn't know, Chinese New Year is on January 22nd. Starts on January 22nd.
Take 2.
Starts on January 22nd, and it's a 16-day long holiday. I believe the first week is a public holiday, and then the rest of the days are kind of like private, celebrating with your family, and prepping for the new year. And this year is the year of the rabbit.
Yeah.
I don't know the element that's
element with
coordinated. Yeah. So
Tell me more.
in 1997, when we were born, we were the year of the ox, but it's the year of the fire ox. And so I think this year might
Is
be
it
like
always the same element with the zodiac sign, or does it alternate?
it cycles as well.
Oh,
I
okay.
don't know the logic behind it. There's definitely math that's done,
Right.
but don't know. I
That's
think
sick. Fire ox?
Yeah.
Fuck yeah. Because I was like, I thought they were element corresponds directly to the zodiac sign, so I was like, ox would probably be like earth of a sort, like earthy.
yeah.
But if it's like, that's sick. Fire
Yeah.
ox? Fuck yeah.
Yeah, and I wish I knew more information about that. But if you guys know anything about it, please let us know.
Inform
in
us,
the comments.
educate us.
Yeah, leave a link, because I mean we didn't do any research as per usual.
I did.
She did. I did not.
I watched a 5-minute YouTube video. YouTube
so
sponsor
now
us.
she is an
I'm
expert.
an expert of Chinese New Year, which I am not Chinese. In case there's any confusion of what Asian I am, it's not Chinese. Thank you.
Yeah.
I just feel like that would, I don't know, I can see that quickly getting lost. They're like, how do you not know you're Chinese? I'm like, no, sir.
Well, let me tell you, I'm Chinese and I don't know, so come after me, I guess. But I think this year might be the water rabbit.
That's a cool one.
I am like 20% sure. Low confidence on that. Correct me if I'm wrong.
I'm assuming it's of the 4 elements, so you have like a 75. Wait, we could do the math. We could really just like cycle if we know Fire Ox back in 97.
Yeah, but there's 2 different cycles. It's a lot. I don't know. I don't know what
But
comes
it-
after Ox.
But it doesn't matter what sign it is. It's like if it's assuming that it's the 4 elements, every 4 years it's gonna be fire
Oh, you
again.
made it so simple. I was like, if we turn this one, I turn this one. But what's after the Ox? And then we keep turning, and yeah, that makes sense.
No,
okay,
no.
continue. You
'Cause
can do the
it's-
math on the side.
What, 25? So this is the 20. How many years has it been? 26 years.
Yeah.
Since our year.
Mm-hmm.
So that means it's been however many full cycles plus 2.
But what
So-
comes after water?
Well,
before
exactly. That's what I'm saying. It's like we know it's not fire. Basically, is what I'm saying. So it's any of the other 3.
We got
Yeah.
33% chance of being correct.
Exactly.
Okay. Gee, we're math minors.
Math minor.
Oh my
Anyways,
goodness.
so you have a 1 in 3 chance.
Yeah.
We know it's not fire,
Yeah,
and you're gonna go with water.
I think so.
Cool. I want to go Earth.
Okay.
I have no right.
Actually, let's just look it up.
we easily could. Yeah.
We're making this very difficult, but
We
it's
did
how we
so-
do, you know?
We did so much math to talk around. What the fuck is my phone?
Oh, did someone lose their phone?
No. Because guess who has her phone? Me. Oh my god, wait, there's 5 elements. I lied.
5
There's
elements?
5. You're fucked. Wood, fire, earth, metal, water.
Ugh.
That was not intuitive.
I was so right.
Ew.
Okay. In the Chinese horoscope, 2023 is the year of the rabbit, or more specifically, the year of the water rabbit. The rabbit is believed to be the luckiest of the 12 animals born under and considered a gentle animal that thinks before acting. The year of the rabbit represents
us.
peaceful and patient energy. No, it's not us. What's the Fire Ox? This is the personality and characteristics of the people who were born in 1997, supposedly the Fire Ox. The Chinese zodiac sign Ox is the second zodiac of the 12 signs
Okay.
in the Chinese calendar. Each year an animal has an animal sign representing the characteristics and personality traits associated with the person born in these years. So the Chinese zodiac fire arc. Oh my god.
You're sure.
Listen.
Ew.
I'm dyslexic. The Chinese zodiac fire ox are very dedicated and firm. They plan things well ahead. Us planning the
Feels like a
research.
strong generalization.
Yes, we totally planned this research.
Can you
even
see how
before.
planned this is? Thank you.
But if things deviate from the planned way, they don't have the patience to wait for anything and jump indirectly to make them perfect.
Yeah, that checks out.
They hold very strong views on how things should work out, and their opinion makes them stand differently. They're active leaders who are known for their leadership skills, which lead them to good wealth and power.
Right on. Wealth and power. Love to hear it.
There's a lot of, oh my gosh, there's a lot, and I really don't want to read all of these, but
That's a lot.
oh my gosh, it even has like love and relationship compatibility.
Oh
This
my
is
God,
like a
that's
whole,
hilarious. That's a real horoscope. That's a full horoscope thing.
yeah.
That's
Imagine just being
hilarious.
like listing off all the personality tests that you've taken, and you're like, I'm a fire ox, and I'm a Enneagram type 2, and I'm like,
Yeah. I mean, that's kind of what it is at this point.
yeah. They have
Figuring out all
career,
your zodiacs and everything.
health, and
is like
lifestyle.
Pokemon styles.
Yeah.
Gotta catch them all.
Yeah. Well, now you know that there are also elements associated with the years.
Easy.
So if you are the year of the rabbit, congratulations to you. This is your year.
This is your year,
Yes.
supposedly.
Supposedly. Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess like what I know about Chinese New Year, I only know a little bit. And here's the situation. If
What happened was.
see what had happened was I was adopted to a white family. So I don't know the intricacies of like the actual traditions that go on during Chinese New Year.
Right.
Because I was a little separated
Yeah.
from that part of
Yeah.
the culture. Every year I was part of a group called FCC, Families with Children from China, growing up, where every once in a while they would put on different events for like Chinese New Year or the Kite Festival or things like that. But because I was so young when it was happening, I didn't really like absorb the actual traditions, I don't think. Like I was like, oh, it's a celebration, it's a party.
Yeah, I'm having a party.
Yeah, we're having good food. But other than that, I didn't really know the importance of each tradition, each
Right,
action.
right,
Yeah, what's the intention behind each action that
Yeah.
you're doing. But I do remember we got to dress up in red as the lucky color. Then we got the little red envelopes that you would put money
Yeah.
in. And I think they're usually used to give money to family members, maybe?
I think so. I think usually adults give it to kids, and then sometimes
Yeah.
you give it to each other.
Yeah, maybe.
Like other adult. I think it's like more to the family at that point, from my understanding, but I could also be very wrong.
Yeah.
Because I also did it when I was a kid, and I'm also not Chinese, so it was passively what people were telling me to do. They're like, yeah, you just give the money, and I'm like, okay.
Yeah. And I remember we would give them to the lion dancers.
Yeah.
Like, you would stick it in their mouth.
Hated going to Chinese lion dances because
really?
they fucking terrible. The lions scared me.
Oh, I thought they were so pretty.
They were okay. Now I can appreciate, and I think they are so pretty.
Yeah.
But like as a kid, fuck it. And then because my parents, which I think is just like a general thing of like you want your kid. Things like that, whatever, you want your kids to go interact with it. Mm-hmm. So my parents would give me the money and be like, just go feed the lion dancer. And I'm like, fuck no, I'm not even putting my arm in a fucking lion dragon's mouth. And they're like, it's a fun. Like, ha ha ha, don't you want to give the lion money? And I'm like, fuck no, I don't.
I want to keep the money for myself.
Yeah, I'm like, first of all, why am I giving him money? I want to have money.
Yeah.
2, I'm not letting him also being like, first of all, like 3'2" on a good day. Little old me. Trying to give the lion money, and then the dancers would like swallow your hand, like your arm, to like because they need to eat it and they need to be able to reach it to put it in
their shirt.
Yeah, whatever I don't really know, whatever they are holding to collect all the money when they're dancing around, right? But little me does not know that, so I'm like, why are you going all the way up to my shoulder? Because I'm also so short, so even if they did a little bit, my whole arm was in there, and then I'm just like dangling my arm in the Chinese.
Give me my arm back.
Exactly, and I'm just like, yeah. Crying.
Yeah, I had a friend.
I hated it.
Yeah, I had a friend who hated it as well, but it was because of the drums.
Oh yeah,
because
they're scary.
Yeah,
when you're a kid.
For those who don't know, during the lion dance, they have a lot of cymbals and drums playing for the lions to dance to, and they're very loud. Like, and so it can be very intimidating when you're a little girl.
Yeah,
and my friend,
for sure.
my friend would just hide under the tables the whole time.
Dude, yeah, that was. I don't blame her. Mm-hmm. That would have been me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I loved it. And I remember when I was older learning more about the lion dancers, and like they do have shirts, and they will tuck them into the pants so that when they take the envelope, they just like tuck them into their shirt.
Makes sense.
At the end, it's all there.
Yeah.
But they change out people super often as well. Because you'll see the people who are like playing the drums or whatever have the same pants as the lion dancers, so they can switch out every once in a while, which is great because if you're the back of the lion, you're like hunched over the whole time.
Mm-hmm.
God.
Yeah.
I mean, back issues galore. I don't know.
I remember when I first like realized that was happening as a older child, like adolescent. I was like, "You're not smooth. I see you.
Slide.
I see that the dragon has suddenly extended and now it's shrank because they go under, switch, and then they come out."
Yeah.
And I was like, suspicious.
Goes to interview them afterwards.
Yeah. How do you feel about lying to everyone?
You poser.
Exactly. So yeah, and I went to a lot of festivals because they would also have it at. They would have like blessings for as new restaurants opened up for my dad for his work and everything. So they would have Chinese lion dancers go and bless the store. So they would dance throughout the entire lobby area. They would even sometimes go through the kitchen and do a dance through there, and like so the employees are feeding them and everything. And it was just a general blessing, which I always just thought was so funny because I'm like, we're not Chinese. Like,
yeah.
I don't know what the reasoning was to pick.
We're the
that.
luckiest.
Yeah, I guess so. I don't know.
Yeah.
Questions that you ask when you're an adult looking back, But
yeah, I think it's pretty widely celebrated now, even like across all the Asian cultures, which is kind of cool.
Yeah.
But do you want to do like a little rough summarization of the history of the holiday?
Bro, I don't know.
Moving on. Hello. If you're hearing this, that means we have found a break in our trains of thought. I know, kind of crazy, like our podcast isn't chaotic or something like that. Anyway, this week we have a sponsor for this episode, and our sponsor is Newsly. And you're probably wondering, what is Newsly? Well, Newsly is an all-in-one audio super app for iOS and Android. It picks up the most trending articles on the web on topics you choose at any given moment and reads them to you in a natural human voice. For the first time, the entire web becomes listenable, all in one place. So you can stop scrolling and start listening. You can follow any topic as specific as you'd want, from sports to business or even the Kardashians. And they have podcasts as well. Explore trending podcasts from over 80 countries. Our podcast, The Midnight Memo, will be there too. So make sure to check them out, download and use Newsly for free now from www.newsly.me or from the link we have down in our description. You can also use the promo code TMM for 1 month of free premium subscription. That is right. So make sure to go check us out on the Newsly app. And now back to the podcast. So a long time ago, there was a dragon that came to the Chinese villages, and in order to ward him off, he was afraid of the color red, and then also afraid of loud noises. So that's why people started wearing red and putting like red banners and things on their houses and homes and shops, so that the dragon wouldn't go and destroy them. And then they also started celebrating with firecrackers, because that's what created the loud noises.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it's the dragon only visited once a year, and that's why it's like a yearly celebration.
That makes sense.
Yeah, but I think that's why now the color red and firecrackers are still being used during the holiday, which is super cool. And I think the rest of the holiday is really family oriented and like coming together to bring good luck and good fortune for the new year that's about to come. So
The funniest part to me is the amount of superstitions that go around it.
yeah,
Like Chinese New Year too, but like I think also a lot of Asian, or I think a lot of cultures in general, but specifically for Asian cultures, even more so than I know. Like we were just watching the video, you don't sweep on New Year's because you could sweep out the good luck that would come in the new year. So, okay, sure. What was another? So no washing your clothes, no. We were just watching the video. Something about, was there a shoe thing? I don't
there
know.
was like no killing.
Yeah,
allowed,
no killing.
And I was like, I mean, I feel like that's a universal.
Yeah, I feel like that should apply
Year-round.
to the whole year, but okay, sure. There was also no using bad or cursed words, which would be like killing or
Shit.
cut. Yeah, like basically
Curse
anything
words.
that could have a negative connotation. Like don't use the word die. Like which okay, I guess because then whatever word you use, you're insinuating that type of, basically you're like manifesting that energy to come into the new year, right? So like,
Yeah. And
use
then
euphemisms at all times and stuff like that.
yeah. And then the one I remember, which I thought was funny, is like don't use any scissors.
Yeah, I didn't get that. I'm like, what happens if you cannot open this package? Like, you're screwed. You gotta wait 24 hours, basically.
And I was just laughing in my head about the fact that Asians use scissors to cut all their noodles and stuff.
That's true.
And I'm like, damn, your noodles gonna be long.
No, I don't get the noodle. Do you cut your noodles? You're
I
not
don't.
supposed to.
I like
thought.
the long noodles. I don't know if it's different between
Maybe.
types of Asians.
I
Like,
know for Japanese, you're definitely not supposed to. You just slurp that motherfucker. You
Yeah.
take the whole thing because the noodle represents your lifeline.
yeah.
So if you bite or like separate the noodle, you're cutting your lifeline essentially.
Yeah. I think Koreans, they definitely use the what do you call it, scissors.
Yeah.
I don't know about Chinese. I don't know anything about Chinese people. I am one.
I don't know me. Who is she?
Listen, this whole thing actually led to an identity crisis in like
That's true.
middle school.
Yeah.
Where I was like, oh my god, am I even Asian? Am I even like connected to that? Should I be part of that? Or would like they even accept me? Because a lot of the experiences I've had with people, I mean, because when you look at someone, you don't automatically think, oh, they're adopted. You just
Yeah.
see like, oh, they're a person, and you see like, oh, they're probably like Asian. They're probably like whatever. You make automatic assumptions,
Right.
and so there were a lot of times where people would just come up to me and start talking Chinese, and I was like, girly pop, I don't know what you mean.
No.
I'm gonna need you to say that into Google Translate for me. I just stare at them blankly. I'm like,
Yeah.
and then there was a time where I think I actually said this on the podcast earlier. I had a friend that I danced with who was also Chinese, and like
Yes.
her mom would try to talk to me in Chinese when she knew that I couldn't.
Yeah.
And it was more in like,
Such mean girl behavior from a mom too.
I know.
Like what?
It wasn't like in a tone where she was trying to help me learn. It was in a tone where it's like condescending
Yeah,
and
like,
why
your
aren't you
shit
learning
together.
Chinese?
Yeah.
I'm like, sorry, I don't have anyone at home to practice with.
Yeah.
My mom's white.
Hello.
Hello.
Yeah.
But
You know what? Okay, this also leads me to like an identity crisis that I recently just had when I went home for the holidays. So I was talking to my dad and I was talking about how I want to learn Japanese again. I'm Japanese, for context, in case that wasn't said before. And so I was telling him how I'm doing good at my Duolingo for Spanish, blah, blah, blah.
muy bueno.
And then I was telling him how I want to relearn Japanese again because I took 4 years of it in high school, but that was way back in high school. And I grew up with it, learning in like my elementary school had Hawaiian and Japanese integrated into the curriculum. So I learned how to read it, but
That's really cool. I think more schools should do that.
Yeah.
Growing up.
it was a lot of fun. But then like once you get through those, like you're a kid, you're not really taking it seriously. And then like come middle school and high school, it wasn't required anymore. So it was really easy to just like fall off the bandwagon with it.
Right.
So that was sad. Then when my grandma passed right before I went to high school, so I had like a huge identity crisis, and I was like, I have to take Japanese. My grandma's the one, she's pure Japanese, and she was a first generation, born in Hawaii, Japanese American, but it wasn't America yet. So I like had a whole identity crisis. I was like, I need to learn Japanese. Took it for all 4 years of high school, tried to do it in college, but then timing of classes didn't work out. So I was talking to my dad about that and how I was like, I want to start learning it again, blah, 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 blah. And he was like, why didn't you talk to your grandma in Japanese? And I was like, why?
I don't know.
Yeah, I was like, I don't know why. And he was like, you know your grandma was like, and it didn't even dawn on me because I just spoke to her in English all the time, never even thought twice about it when she was around because I was an infant.
Yeah.
But duh, she's a first generation.
You're like, now that I think about
yeah,
it.
my great grandma was a picture bride from Japan.
Yeah.
So it's like, of course she knew nothing but Japanese. My grandma probably was the first person to start learning English, but she would have known Japanese because her mom only knew Japanese.
Yeah.
So I was like, all this makes sense. And no one put it together while she was around and when I was a kid. When I was learning Japanese, we didn't think to talk about this. We didn't think to like, that could have been easily someone to practice with. But because my dad didn't really talk because he knew passively through his grandma.
Yeah.
He didn't know enough to teach me, so we never practiced, and he didn't think to bring it up.
Fair. Yeah.
Sure, makes sense. So why would I ask to bring it up? I mean, he's like, you could have practiced with your grandma all the time. And I was like, well, that doesn't help me now.
Well, that's news to me,
Yeah,
sir.
Like, I'm sorry you didn't ask when I was 8. Like, oh, grandma, do you know Japanese? Like,
Yeah.
I guess I could have easily if I was a very, like, inquisitive child, but I just
As a
didn't
child, though,
think
those questions don't come to your head, really.
Exactly. So I was like, and then this just like, I had a whole, like the next week, I was just contemplating and I kept venting to my partner because I was like, how did I not put it together that my grandma would be fluent in Japanese? Absolutely, it makes sense that she was.
Mm-hmm.
And I complained so much after she passed and I was learning and I was like, I wish I had someone to teach me when I was growing up. Maybe the person I was learning it for, like, oh my god, it was just, it's a whole thing. It was a whole crisis. I re-triggered my, like, teenage adolescent crisis all over again.
Yeah, I mean, that's good that you want to relearn it, though. Like,
Yeah.
I feel like I have no desire to relearn Chinese or even start to learn. Like, I learned a little bit when I was in middle school, high school.
Okay, right.
Because my mom was like, well, you are from China. You should learn. And I was like, girly, I don't want to, but fine.
Such a good sport. Like,
yeah, I mean, like, I only had to do, I think, 1 hour every week. And so, like, I had a tutor that would come over and help. So it wasn't that bad because I had a lot of friends who were actually in their own Asian families,
Right.
but they had to go to Chinese school on the weekends,
Right, yeah.
which are, like, full days of Chinese lessons. And so I was like, at least I don't have to do that.
Yeah.
And
Comparatively, a lot less commitment.
yeah,
Yeah.
a lot less commitment. And again, like, I don't have anyone to practice with, which I think is a huge factor in learning a language.
No,
Like,
100%.
if you don't have anyone to practice with, then it's no point because you don't get to use it. But then as a child too, I was a smart ass and I was lazy and didn't want to learn it.
Right.
So my mom would be like, oh, do you want to practice with me? Because she's a doll and she's
was
too
your
good
mom
for me.
trying to learn too?
She wasn't trying to learn, but she was like, oh, like, I would practice with you, or you can like talk to me in Chinese and like try to practice.
Okay.
But I was a little brat and she was an angel, and I would just throw together random Chinese words that meant absolutely nothing.
And what did she do? She just sat there like nodding
Yeah,
along.
she would be like, okay, like, good, like, and I was like, and like, but now I'm like, that served me unwell.
Yeah.
Like, that was so not smart. But it is a really hard language, so
Yeah, absolutely.
yeah. So I didn't learn it. Still not gonna learn it.
Yeah. I know. I
But-
I took 4 years of Japanese throughout high school, and I could have been better at practicing it. But like, all I have to take away is I know 2 out of the 3 alphabets very well. Reading it, the third one could not tell you.
Yeah.
And when people are like, "You took it for 4 years, though," and I'm like, "Yeah." Did you miss the part where I said there's 3 alphabets?
Yeah.
Like,
There's a lot going
there's
on,
a
you
lot
guys.
going on.
I don't know about you, but I think at least for me, and maybe for other people who are like stuck in the middle of 2 cultures.
Yeah.
Like in my case, I'm fully Chinese, I think, and I was adopted into a white family, so I was kind of like separated from my Chinese culture in that way.
Yeah.
And then for you, you're like a mix of a lot of different cultures.
Yeah, I have
and
a lot of different identity crises.
Yeah,
I
and
guess
so it's
multiply
like,
my identity crisis.
you kind of like get to dip your toe in a little bit of everything,
Yeah.
but not like, I don't know, like fully immerse yourself in one area, I guess.
sure.
But there's like when people, I'm afraid like if I go to say a Chinese store or even meeting a Chinese family, that they're gonna like judge me for not being Asian enough, or like, oh, you don't speak Chinese? Oh, you don't know about this? Oh, you don't know a lot about Chinese New Year? Like, why
Yeah.
not?
No,
Like,
literally.
and it's just, yeah, it's like scary because I'm like, I don't know, but it's just like I'm kind of stuck somewhere in between, and so I'm just like living in a gray area.
Yeah, no, that's so true. I mean, I think it happens a lot for me, like you said, because I'm such a mix. Happens a little bit with everything, but I think the most, luckily because I grew up in Hawaii, it's very common for you to be a little bit of everything, and for you to utilize other cultures. So like, even though I don't know, I'm not Chinese, I'm not I don't know much about Chinese New Year, I would passively like observe it because other classmates or whoever would be celebrating it in my classes, and then it just becomes a thing for everyone and we all start celebrating it. So even though I don't know also like why I'm doing it, sure, like someone else is leading it and I'm able to participate in that. But I think the biggest time that I was faced like against that was when I got my Samoan scholarship before college, and then my mom she retroactively fixed her birth certificate to show that she actually is of Samoan descent because it wasn't on her birth certificate due to other family dramas and things like that. And that led to a whole reconnection of that side of our family, where I finally, after hearing about them, like got to meet that whole side of my family, suddenly meet like my mom's 10 siblings that she has, and all of them speak fluent Samoan, and even the kids, like they're infants and they will only speak Samoan. I don't fucking know Samoan. I just got a scholarship on it, but I don't speak Samoan because my mom never learned and there's no one to practice with either. But they all speak it. They all have like our family crest, like our symbol, our tribe symbol, like tattooed somewhere on like my older cousins and everything. Yeah. And they all have it. The men will have like a full leg tat. The women will have like a little band on. And I was like, oh my God, it's so pretty. And then my cousin, one of my cousins, she was like, oh, why don't you get one? Like we can go get it. Like this is what it looks like. Yeah. Blah, blah, blah. She starts explaining it to me. First of all, I'm 17. Second of all, I want to because it's like that's my family, that's my history. But I also don't feel like I feel like a poser. Like I'm like
I'm faking it. Like
I'm like am I Samoan enough to take this? Because I can't speak it. And like as a culture, they're so proud and they're very proud people and they're so ingrained. Like people who are Samoan. They're very ingrained into it. And I did not grow up with that. And all of my friends were usually Asian. Like I didn't grow up with a lot of Samoan friends, and the ones I did, they like kind of kept in their little clique of like they all hung out together. I didn't really like we would be passive acquaintances, but like not integrated into the team. Right. And so I had one friend who was like on the football team who was Samoan, and he would try to teach me swear words after he found out I was Samoan. I don't remember a couple, but that's the extent of all I know. Yeah. And so it's such an identity crisis, and they would always, when I like meet them or like go to family functions to like talk to them, they're so sweet, and they're just like, oh, you know Uncle Willie, like he lives like in Washington with you, and I'm like, cool, bro. Yeah, exactly. I'm like, no. And they're like, oh, don't you know? When I went, they threw me, the first time I met them, they all threw me a graduation party after literally just meeting me 2 hours before that. Yeah. And we had this huge party, and they literally pulled out a binder that was easily 2, maybe 3 inches, just slammed this binder down in front of me, and they were like, that's your entire genealogy. Like, fuck ancestry DNA. Like, sorry, no disrespect, but like,
I still have your test and I haven't done it.
They were just like, we know everything about our entire family, our entire lineage, and they wanted to share it with me, and it was so cool. But I just felt like I was just like infiltrating someone's life. I just felt like I was faking it and going through the motions, and I was just like, and I want to be a part of it, but it's like
there's like a feeling of like shame or something that goes along with it. You just don't
know already.
And you're like, should I know it? But then it's also like a fear of, if I try to learn and if I truly want to learn, will they accept me? Because
I'm still an outsider.
Like my mom, because I always talk about like wanting to travel to Asia, like I want to go to Japan, like I want to like see this, and she's like, well, if you do that, you have to go back to China, obviously. And I was like, mother. I see why. I'm like, but at the same time, like now if I go there, will they like automatically approach me just, talking Chinese? Would they be like weirded out that I don't speak Chinese? Will they look down on me because I'm freaking tan? And the beauty standards over there is like you need to be like very fair skinned, otherwise you come from like a lower economic background and things like that. And so I'm like, I'm literally scared to go over there because I'm gonna be judged poorly. And like, I don't know if you guys are from that area and you're like, no, that's not how it is, let me know. But I'm like,
please reassure me.
Like it's scary to try to later on in life embrace something that you didn't grow up with.
It's so scary. Like even now, like my cousins, they're so welcoming when I see them, but like I'm so nervous because I'm like, I don't want to show them the gaps of my knowledge. Like they're integrated into it, they know all that stuff, like it's second nature, it's their childhood, and it's like I don't know that stuff. I don't know. You could be talking mad shit in front of my face right now and I wouldn't know. I know they wouldn't, but like they could be, and I wouldn't know. Or like just like the general practices, or like when I graduated, you're supposed to do I don't even know what it's called, but it's basically a money dance. And so they were like, oh, why didn't you do one when you graduated? And I was like, because
I didn't know it was a thing.
I didn't know about it. I didn't know, like, and for them it's like when every graduation party they went to growing up, they would see some, the graduate doing the money dance, so they know that's what's expected by the time they go to a graduation party. I went to Filipino and Japanese graduation parties. You ain't doing none of that shit there, you know? So it's, just like that expectation of like, you want to jump in, but then you're afraid to show them that you don't know things. You don't want to be judged for your lack of knowledge, and you don't want to fuck up.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't want to do something
completely wrong.
Yeah, like stupid, or like that could be possibly insulting, just out of ignorance.
Yeah.
And especially if it's like your family, I'm like, oh gosh, like I could get in so much trouble, you know?
Yeah, it's so, there's a lot of worry, stress inducing things that come with not fully understanding the culture that you come from and feeling like you should.
Yeah.
So, it's really weird. And I think that was like definitely a theme for me growing up, being like, am I Asian enough? Should I even be able to like identify as this when I'm completely white on the inside, you know, like Caucasian? My name is Claire. My last name's Norman. Like if you look up Claire, like if you close your eyes and you think Claire Norman, it's probably like
this face is
a
not
middle-aged, like a middle-aged white accountant.
Yeah.
You know, somewhere in Chicago. Like I don't know.
Yeah.
And like I feel like because of that, I've gotten a lot of more opportunities, not gonna lie. And it's always funny. Yeah, it's always funny when people first meet me because they're like, Claire Norman. I'm like, hi.
Yeah, they're like,
okay. Like,
Yep.
But.
Yeah, same. But like multiply it by like at least 4.
Yeah.
So
honestly.
it's even more, like, I don't know, growing up in the melting pot of cultures, it's helpful because it's like, you don't really have, like, it's, people just give and take, and it's a lot more fluid that way. But I feel like that also leads to an identity crisis because it's like, okay, where does my culture end and that one begin? Of like, sometimes I was telling my partner of like just like things I would do great, like little like cultural practices, or I don't know, like little celebrations that you would do, and then he's like, oh, what, like where does that come from? And I'd be like, I don't know. Like,
fuck if I know.
Yeah,
I don't know.
he's like, oh, is that Japanese? I'm like, could be Chinese, could be Korean, could be Filipino. Fuck if I know.
I feel like it's Asian though.
Yeah, it could be Hawaiian for all I know, and I'm not even that. So it's like just so many things. Like I don't know where the root is. It's just kind of like part of me in a sense, and like where I come from. So it's helpful, but it leads to another layer. Onion layers. Just like another layer of an identity crisis where I'm like, I have an identity crisis, but for my different cultures and where they are and where they blend and where they're not.
Yeah. Have you ever been like discouraged, like if you've wanted to learn about something? And I think because like for me, some of the fear is because I have been discouraged a couple times. So it's like, do I want to keep trying, or is everyone going to kind of react in the same way? But like, have you ever been discouraged from trying to explore your, like more of your Asian cultures, more of your Filipino side, more of like your Samoan side? Like,
yeah, I have, by certain people. And I think it's really fucked up, and it's kind of borderline racist. Like Hawaii is low-key racist. I'm sorry, I hate to say it. Like it's very accepting, but it's also very low-key racist. So I have been shamed for almost not being a purist, of like not being, so like basically for being a mutt, you know. And like, so people of one of those ethnicities that I am, they're very ingrained into it, blah 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 blah. And so when I have wanted to learn, they would kind of be like, why don't you know that? And I'm like, well, because I grew up a little bit of this, a little bit of that, you know, like I'm involved in everything. And they're like, yeah, but that's just like known that our culture does this. And I'm like, okay, well, I didn't know that our culture does that. And they're like, no, our culture.
Okay.
So exactly. So it's like I have, in the sense, it's very rare, but I have had the variation of it being blatant in my face, where it's like, you need, like, why don't you know that? Are you not a real whatever?
Fill in the blank.
Yeah. And I've also had it passively, kind of like you were saying, of that friend's mom who just kind of just glazes over it and pretends like, expects you to know everything, and when you don't, they're like, well,
yeah. Like, oh, your mom didn't make you learn that?
Yes, my white mom didn't teach me Chinese.
Literally. It's, so annoying.
Yeah.
But
I think it's just one of those things that you're going to get, and that people are going to shame you for it sometimes. And it's exactly those people that indirectly or very directly cause the anxiety and the stress of like why it's hard for us to explore our own cultures when it shouldn't be. It's like that is technically a facet of your identity. Yeah,
it's a weird like gatekeeping type thing. Like if I want to take pride in from where I'm from, and I think I had to learn that I am deserving like to learn about my own culture, because I know, like there are a lot of people who are like not really willing to share the information, or like not wanting you to learn more about where you're from, which is kind of weird. I don't understand that. I feel like it's like powers and numbers types of situation where it's like, why are you trying to like not like, I want to have pride in this culture. Wouldn't you want more people to have pride in your culture? You know?
Yeah, if we're all about representation, why are you going to gatekeep someone from being able to showcase a cool person, being able to showcase that? But I think it's because of the fear of like, you don't want someone to take your culture or whatever and misuse it, abuse it, and shape it into something else. So I get that, but like, I feel like it's so much gatekeeping for like what it. Like I'm a 12-year-old girl at this point, and I'm gonna like, you really think I'm gonna abuse it? I don't know.
Yeah, it's very weird. I don't know.
And I think that's also why I'm like afraid to like be too loud. Like it's those people exactly that I'm afraid to be loud and proud about certain things. Like I'm someone, and I love that. I think it's so cool, but because of my lack of knowledge, I don't like when I list my ethnicities, I list that last, and it sucks. Yeah. I mean, to be fair, that's my smallest percentage, but still, it's like it's still a significant, or it's one of my smallest, besides like the miscellaneous whites, like
all the whites, and then
so I'm like, I will always list that last because it's like kind of just to slide it in there, and I don't want to. Like that's so fucked up that I feel like I have to like slide in my ethnicity in there. I shouldn't need to, because it's just I am someone, but I feel like also is different enough that people will have a lot of questions, and if they know enough about Samoan culture, they're gonna be like, why don't you know that? Every person I know who's Samoan knows that, whatever. And I don't want to get shown up about it, you know, which is a shitty feeling.
I like when I went to all these different events growing up, say the Chinese New Year celebrations with my basically it was like a group of people who had adopted their children from China, and like we would want to wear the traditional outfits, you know, and I would always feel like awkward wearing it, because I'm like, first of all, I don't even know what it's called. Second of all, like, am I just like, I don't know, it feels like you're just trying to put
dressing up someone's culture, even though it's your culture.
But I don't know, I think hopefully, because we've done a lot of, I mean, from my point of view as a society, and like the millennials, Gen Zs, like we're making a more welcoming community. Hopefully.
That's the goal.
So I think it's giving us opportunity to learn more about our own cultures and other people's cultures. Like I feel like your job probably has the same thing as mine, but we have like our Pan-Asian employee resource groups.
So we have they're called ERGs. I don't remember what the acronym's for, but it's basically
employee resource group.
Is that really what it's called?
ERGs.
There you go. But we have ERGs that are like for different cultures and even like identities. Like we have a lot of, there's like a queer group that I don't remember what they're called, and there's multiple different like sub variations of it.
Right.
We have like we have like the Asian group. We have Black. We have we have even like Indian or subcultures within that, and we have a lot of different resources like that too.
And ours are all like very inclusive, like people who are not of Asian descent can be part of it, you know, and vice versa. We have like a veterans network where we could just like learn about their experiences. Same with we call BEN, the Black Employee Network. Things like that. And it's what's been like really nice is that they've been very open with everything, and like know that if you have a question about like, oh, why do you do this, or why is this part of the tradition, like where does it come from, that they know you're not coming from a malicious place or like trying to stir the pot or anything. You're just genuinely curious. And I think in that case, like knowledge is power. Like knowing where the boundaries are from like learning to like abusing or disrespecting the culture and stuff like that, you can help other people learn as well. So I think it's been like a really cool opportunity to do that. And so hoping like this year I can learn a lot more, trying to gain the confidence to learn more.
And I think it's like that like the way that's set up, that forum makes it so much more, it's still intimidating, but it's more welcoming, because that's the pretext of like this is set up for people to ask ignorant questions. Like it's just, you don't know, and it doesn't come at you maliciously, whereas like if you were to ask those same questions
somewhere on the web,
on the web, could lead to a lot of weird things, but like maybe to someone out in the wild, whatever, it can easily be misconstrued, and it depends how the other person receives it, right? Like if they receive it as like you're being malicious and you're trying to, I don't know, tease them for whatever the question is, like, then they can take that very terribly, and then that can lead to a terrible interaction. Whereas like having that forum is like, no, I just want to know, I'm just curious, I've wondered about this, I don't understand it, and I want to know more about it. And that's really, really cool.
Yeah. And I think just overall, like, because we are Asian, I'm Chinese, you're Japanese, Samoan, etc. A lot of different things. Like, I don't know how to phrase this. Like, we should have the right to be able to
learn about your own culture. Yeah.
And so, yeah, when it comes to asking yourself, like, oh, am I Asian enough? Subconsciously, I know, yes, you are.
Yep.
But it's just like overcoming those hurdles of like, okay, but like, will someone judge me for it? Will they be willing to teach me about it without being condescending?
Yeah, because it's not like some other things where it's like, okay, if you want to learn something, you can do it yourself.
Yeah.
Like, it's a culture, like, you can do your own research, but like, because it's a culture, it's a social construct and identity, you need other people to be there to teach you, to help you keep practices, to like, it's dynamic, it's relationship, and you can't just do that on your own. Whereas it's like, okay, if you want to learn how to skateboard, you can YouTube tutorial and like figure it out yourself. You know, like, you can't learn a culture by yourself.
Yeah.
And I think that's what's hard, is like, you are not fully, but very dependent on other people who have the knowledge and sharing it with you and accepting you.
Yeah.
Which is terrifying, the latter.
Yeah. So, I mean, let us know in the comments if you relate to any of this. Honestly, I hope that a lot of you don't, because that would be sad, but I think there are a lot of situations and different people who feel this way. So,
it's still a common enough occurrence that I think it's relevant, unfortunately. So, yeah.
Yeah. But do you have anything else to add?
No. Oh, if you guys have questions, you can ask us, but I have no guarantee that I have answers, but like, maybe we can learn together.
Yeah. Let us know. Leave some questions. Again, you can like reach out to us through our emails. That's themidnightmemo@gmail.com, or you could leave comments in the YouTube or the YouTubes.
On our other social medias, that
Instagram,
will be,
yeah,
Instagram, email, TikTok messages,
yeah,
anything,
in the comments,
anything really. All the various social medias will be listed somewhere on the screen if you're watching us on YouTube. Otherwise, they'll be in the podcast description down below.
If you want to leave us a review, review.
What happens if they want to leave us a review, Claire?
It would super help us out. Bringing it back. You can leave a review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. Or if you just like want to leave us some comments, like compliments, that would be great too.
Yes.
But to leave it on a high note, if you celebrate Chinese New Year, Happy Chinese New Year. It's on the 22nd. By the time this video or podcast is up, it will have already passed, but we'll be in the first week of the celebration. If you want to learn more about it, definitely we can leave some links below that might have a little bit of information. If you have information that you want to share with us, again, leave it in the comments. Happy Year of the Rabbit.
Yeah. And if you know anyone who's having a kid, or if you're having a kid, you can tell them this fun fact that they are going to be born in the year of the rabbit.
The water rabbit.
Water rabbit.
They can swim, y'all.
And if you're born in 97, shout out to our fire oxes.
Yeah. Oh, leave in the comments below like what your sign and element is. I just like want to see.
Yeah. What's the distribution? I want to know. All right.
Okay. Alrighty. We will see you next Tuesday, and then you'll see us next Wednesday.
Yeah. All right. Bye.
Bye.